Welcome to e-learning. It's been 5 weeks since our quarantine started, and came the day we had to stay home. And your kind smile I've missed since we parted, but you miss my tie flips 1,000 times more. Where, oh, where are you today? Why did you leave me here all alone? I searched the world over and thought I found students, but they closed the school and we was home. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you were at least 6 feet back when we were singing that song. That song could get you, and so make sure you sing that song. You need to social distance for sure. But when I was young, I always loved hee-haw, and maybe you don't know what hee-haw is, but your parents probably know, and for sure your grandparents know. In fact, I have a couple pictures for you. When I was little, I found this picture at my parents' house. There's Mr. Nyson, and he thought he was tough. He had his fire hat on, he was riding his big wheel, and if you look closely, he has hee-haw overalls. You can see the he, you can even see the haw upside down on part of that, but those hee-haw, I love those hee-haw overalls. But I was one tough dude back then. And then I also, since we're being a little nostalgic, I found a picture from Christmas. Here's Mr. Nyson Christmas morning getting Batman and Robin, and who would know that years later that Mr. Nyson would grow up to be Math Man, chasing down his students who don't do their e-learning. And so make sure you get that done. But I love those Batman and Robin toys also. But if you really want to see one cute dude, it's this next picture right here. This is Mr. Nyson at age 3. And so, yep, I have to say he's pretty cute, if I say so myself. Do you see a resemblance? Maybe no glasses? Do I look the same? And so, hey, well, welcome back to this Wednesday. And we want to make sure that everybody has everything they need. And so hopefully you're on the school website and you've already filled in the attendance form. And so we'll give you a second to fill in the attendance form, and you fill it in, and then we'll be right back. So you pause the video, fill it in, and come right back. For algebra today, on Monday, we talked about polynomial long division. Well, guess what? There is a much easier way to do those problems. Yeah, I know. You always tell us the easier way next. Well, you could have watched this video first, but it didn't exist. And so you always got to have time to ponder, and then we talk about it. And so we're going to talk about what's called synthetic division. And so it is notes 116. And make sure your homework tonight is on the second page, which isn't on the back unless you print it back to back. It's on the second page, and we're doing problems 1 to 16. Just a reminder to do your warm-ups and also to work on your logic problems. And so we want to get those done. And so I can see a couple of you have already taken it. This must be done before tomorrow night. So do it today or do it tomorrow morning. And so our team score is the top 5 scores, and we need 5 good scores, and one of them is going to be yours. And so set time aside. You're not allowed to use a calculator. I emailed you a specific username and password, and that password always begins with your initials. So if one of your initials is an L, it might look like a 1, but it's really your initials and then the number. And so make sure you have that, okay? And you don't enter labels, and you just click right here, and that's where you're going to go and type in your username I gave you and your password and start in, and it will warn you with a few minutes left, okay? And so make sure you write down notes 116, assignment 116, and here we go on synthetic division. And so we're going to compare, and so this is 116. I sometimes forget to write it. I say it and then I don't write it. So notes 116. And we're going to compare what we did Monday with a new idea. Always new ideas, always learning from what we've done and trying to improve upon it. And so let's take a look. We're going to do the same problem twice, and we're going to have a look at it. And so if we did long division, this x plus 2 would go right out here. And this x to the fourth minus 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4 would all go right here. And so we'd have that. And then we'd ask ourselves, sorry it takes me so long to write this. We'd ask ourselves, what times x would give me x to the fourth? Cam, what times x gives me x to the fourth? X cubed. Excellent, because all you do is you're asking yourself, there's an exponent 1, what 1 plus what gives me 4? And so you're adding the exponents when you multiply like bases. So that'd be an x cubed. And then we're going to multiply x cubed times all this. So we would get x cubed times x, which would give me x to the fourth. And then we would give me x cubed times 2, which would give me 2x cubed. And then we are going to subtract. So what is negative 3 minus 2? Is it 1, negative 1, 5, or negative 5? Bree, what would it be? Negative 5. Excellent, because negative 3 minus 2 would be negative 5. And so that'd be negative 5x cubed. And then what would we do next? Jacob? Yes, bring down the 2x squared. And so we bring that down. And then we ask ourselves, what times x gives me negative 5x cubed? And what would that be? Joe? Yes, negative 5x squared. And so we get negative 5x squared to go right here. And negative 5 times x, negative 5x squared times x would be negative 5x cubed. And then negative 5 times 2 would be negative 10x squared. And then we're going to subtract this. What is 2 minus negative 10? Jordan? Is it 12, negative 12, 8, or negative 8? What is 2 minus negative 10? Negative 8? No, 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 no. It would be, oh, you're just kidding. You just wanted to see the tie flip? Okay, yeah. And so that'd be, Jordan, it'd be 12. Great job. So that'd be 12x squared. And then we bring down the negative 4. Wait. That's not going to work. I forgot to put a space in. Right here. I need a space there. But never fear. We still can fix it. I got some of you nervous. Preston, got you nervous, didn't I? You thought I forgot. And so, well, I might have. And so it'd be plus 0x. But then you realize, and then you'd have the minus 4. And so you bring down the 0x. And then you ask yourself, what times x would give you 12x squared? What would that be? Jack? 12x. Great job. And so we have 12x squared. And then 12x times 2 would be 24x. And then 0 minus 24 would be negative 24x. And then we bring down the minus 4. And then one more step. What times x gives you negative 24x? Well, that would be negative 24, or minus 24, or plus negative 24. And so negative 24 times x would be negative 24x. And then negative 24 times 2 would be negative 48. And then we subtract these. Negative 4 minus negative 48 would actually be positive 44. And that would be our remainder. And we put the remainder, put a plus sign up here, and you put the remainder over the divisor, which was x plus 2. That was a lot of work. We had to put a space in. We had to do -3 minus 2 is -5. We had to do 2 minus -10 is 12. We had to do, and then have the remainder is like, oh, it's a bunch of work. There has to be an easier way. Well, there is, and it's called synthetic division. Because when you do this entire problem, do you know your x to the fourth and your x cubes and your x squareds and your x's, they don't really do anything. All they do is make sure you're in the right column. They just hold the place values. You're not really changing those. All you do is need the coefficients, the numbers that are in front. And so we are going to do this problem just with the coefficients. And so take a look at this. First thing you're going to do is we're going to change colors. And you make a little box up here in the corner. And that's what you're going to divide by. And so you don't write x plus 2 there. You say, what plus 2 gives you the 0? What would be your solution? If you had an x plus 2 equals 0, what would the solution be? Ryan? -2. Good job. Make sure you're paying attention back there. So don't be playing on your Chromebook. No Flappy Bird. Now, and so put a -2. Then all you do is you write the coefficients. 1, -3, 2. Ooh, I forgot my 0. And then a -4. And so we're going to write those right here across the top. 1, -3, 2, 0, and -4. And all I want to know is a quick way to get 1, -5, 12, -24, and 44. Is there a faster way than the subtraction stuff? Because, you know, Mr. Nice, and half the time I subtract these numbers wrong. And it's always me. You know, searched the world over and tried to find answers. But it never works. And so I need a better method. So here we go. Never fear. This is what you do. You write down those coefficients. Then you just bring the 1 down. Well, that was easy. And look. There she is. Whoa! How'd that work? And then what you do is you take this 1 and you're going to put it here. But you're not going to write it down before you multiply it by this number right here. What is 1 times -2? Well, it's -2. And I'm in the second column. And then what are we going to do with these two numbers? We're going to add them up. -2 plus -3. Whoa, look at right there. There's my second number. I done find it. And I found it a lot faster. And that's going to become a -5. And then I'm going to put my -5 up here. But not before I multiply it by this -2. And that gives me a 10. Well, then what am I going to do with the numbers in this column? 2 plus 10 is right there. That's my 12. How'd I find that 12? Why didn't you tell me this yesterday? Where were you? Well, I'm here today. Searched the world over and I found a better method. And so this is going to be a 12. And then we put the 12 up here. No. We're going to take this 12 and what are we going to multiply by, Elizabeth? -2. Good job. That's going to be a -24. And then -24 plus 0 is -24. And that, whoa, that's what this one was. Whoa, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, I tell you. And then we're going to take -24 times what? Cole? -2. Yes, and that's my 48. And then -4 plus 48 is 44. And that's this number right here. Boy, let me tell you, would you rather do this or would you rather do this? Would you rather mow your grass with a riding lawnmower or would you rather go out there and just pick them one by one? I'm telling you, they both work, but one is the way to go. And so we're going to find a quick way to find these numbers. But then the hard part is, once you know these numbers, you need to realize that if we started with an x to the fourth and we're dividing by an x, you need to decrease don't put this with an x to the fourth. You're going to put this with an x cubed. Okay? So it's going to become 1x cubed. And then this is going to be minus 5x squared. And then you just go down 1 by 1 plus 12x to the first, which is just 12x, plus negative 24x to the 0. But anything to the 0 power equals, Hannah, 1. Great job. Good job, palindrome. And then, well then, what's the 44? Well, I already want x cubed, x squared, x, no x. Well, that's my remainder. And then you put that over x plus 2. And we don't need so many lines for our homework. This is amazing. And so, you ready to do the next couple problems? Okay, let's get started. Scroll on down here, and you can tell the sun's coming up. At least it's sunny for now. And so I thought it would be a nice day, but maybe I guess there's a chance of rain. And so let's do these next two examples. We're going to divide x to the fourth minus 16 by x minus 2. So the first thing you do is, what minus 2 would give you 0? It's like when we're solving the quadratics. What would your solution be? Would it be negative 2 or would it be 2? Aiden? It'd be 2. And so you put a 2 right there. Then what goes here are all the coefficients. And so this would be 1x to the fourth, 0x cubed, 0x squared, 0x, and then your minus 16. And we want to get the coefficients, and so then we can quickly get these numbers. Well, my answer is going to be 1. And then 1 goes up here, but then we're going to multiply it by what? Ethan? 2. So then that's going to be a 2. And then we add 0 plus 2 to give me 2. Then we're going to take 2 times, you always just keep multiplying by this number. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we're going to add these. 0 plus 4 is 4. Then we're going to take 4 times 2 is 8. And then we're going to add these two numbers, and that would give me an 8. Then we're going to take 8 times 2, which is 16. And then we're going to add these two numbers, which will give you 0. And I'm done. It's like, whoa, how did that work? Well, what's my answer? Well, how do you know what to start with? One of your Khan Academy warm-ups was, if you're dividing by x, what are you doing with the exponent? You're just subtracting it by 1. So, Erica, what would we start with? This would start with 1x to the fourth. No, good job, Erica. It'd be 1x cubed. And then the next one would be 2x squared. And then the next one would be 4x. And then the next one would be plus 8. And so hopefully you don't stop the video right now and say, I got this. I don't need to listen to any more of this. I got it. Well, there's one more thing. Everything is done just like this until you get to the last couple problems. Until you get to the part B of the assignment. You will miss all 4 of these unless you watch this last example. You'll get everything right up to that point. But then you will miss, man, the sun is shining bright. And the sun shines bright on my Indiana home. I might have to do something about that. I'm going to go blind here. But hopefully you can still see me while I'm illuminated. And so we'll fix that before we make the next video for geometry. And so let's go back up here and let's look at this one. What is the solution for this? 4x minus 7, if that equaled 0, what would x be? What would be the root? And the root would be 7/4. Remember, you take the 7 and you put it over a 4. You change the sign because you'd add 7, you divide by 4, and that'd be 7/4. And so no trouble there. But what you want to see is, this is normal. You have 8x cubed, 2x squared, 0 x's, and the negative 49. And so you bring the 8 down. Well, that's no trouble. And you take 8 times this. Well, that could be a little more difficult. And this is a negative 7/4. Does it look like a negative? I better make my negative sign out here a little more. And so this is a negative 7/4. So 8 times negative 7/4, if you did that, you'd be taking 8 divided by 4, which would be 2, and that would give you negative 14. And then what are we going to do with these two numbers? Annabelle, we're going to add them. We always add. And so then this is going to be negative 12. And then we're going to take negative 12 times negative 7/4. And so what would that be, Danielle? 12 divided by 4, yeah, that's right. That'd give you a 3. A negative times a negative, yeah, positive. And then 3 times 7, 21. So negative 7/4 times negative 12 is positive 21. And that's not a 4, it's a 21. And then we're going to add these, and you get 21. Now, did I do that right? We got 8, 2, 0 x's. That'd be negative 14. That's negative 12. That's positive 21. This problem really this ugly? I don't think it's supposed to be this ugly. What did I do wrong? And then oh, silly goose. Back all this up. What are we doing? I knew this wasn't right. I got Preston yelling at me in the background. Mr. Nyson, it's positive 7/4. You forgot to change the sign. It really wasn't a negative. You just made that fraction bar bigger, and you confused yourself. I did. Huh. It's the sun. It's beating me in the eye. I can't see. And so the solution to this would be positive 7/4. And so when I bring the 8, I knew something wasn't right. But you know, when you're all alone, you got nobody to tell you what you're doing. And then so this becomes a positive 14. Then you add these, you get a 16. Then Annabelle, when you take 7/4 is 16, 16 divided by 4 is 4 times 7 is 28. Good job. And then we bring this down. These add up to 28. And then 7/4 is 28. 28 divided by 4 is 7 times 7 is 49. Then we add these and we get 0. Whoa. The sun, man, it's the heat. It's causing me to be delusional. And so this would be my answer. Or is it? See, we took x cubed and we divided by x, so you'd think it was x squared. And then you think it would be 16x. And then you'd get plus 28. And you think that's your answer. But this would make no sense. You know why it doesn't make any sense? Is because that means if this were my answer, if this divided by this gives me this, that means this times this would give me the numerator. Well, what's 4 times 8? 32. Not an 8. What's 4 times 16? 64. Not an 8. What's 4 times 28? 112? That's not a 49. What could we do? That don't work. What could we do? Well, if I divide 32 by 4, I'd get that. So what? Should I divide this by 4 and get a 2? Should I divide this by 4 and get a 4? Should I divide this by 4 and get a 7? And see, this isn't going to work, because to get that exact answer, you would actually have to multiply all these by 4. And then what I didn't do is, because I stopped because the sun was beating me in the eyes, you'd have to multiply, you'd have to FOIL, distribute twice, all these by 7. But notice, if you divide all these by 4, the number on the bottom, 4 times 2 is 8, and that starts with an 8. Now, our middle term isn't going to be right because you'd have to FOIL and distribute and do all that stuff. But the last term, 7 times 7, is 49. And so you can check it quick. And so what you do when you have a fraction here, get these big numbers, 8, 16, 28, but then divide them by the number on the bottom. If you divide it by the number on the bottom, take a fourth of all that. Your answer is 2x squared plus 4x minus 7. I'm going to do one of the last 4 for you, okay? And I'm going to get this sun out of my eyes. I'm going to hang a towel up or something. So that's curtains. Just put a towel over the window. And so get ready, get your own piece of paper out, and we'll get started here, okay? And then I'm going to do one of the last ones for you again, okay? Ready to start their homework. I hung the towel up and keeps the sun out of my eyes this morning. And so, but let's start with, we could do the first one, and then we'll do the last one. How's that sound? And so on your own paper, you look at the bottom and you're going to write see the x minus 2, and you'll put a little 2 in the box. Okay? And then you're going to write all these coefficients with spaces. So I have an x cubed, that's a negative 5x squared, 1x, and no x. And so you're going to write 3, negative 5, 1, and negative 2. And then leave a line, space, and draw a line. And then you bring the 3 down on your own paper, bring a 3. And then what do I put here? 3 times the 2, and that puts a 6. And then we're going to add these up. 6 plus negative 5 is a 1. Then we're going to take 1 times 2, and that gives you 2. Then you're going to add these up. You're going to get a 3. And then 3 times 2 is a 6. And then you'll add these up, and you'll get a 4. Well, that's my answer. But then what do I write? X cubed, x squared, x to the 4th. I don't remember. Which one? Abby? Oh, yeah. So if it's an x cubed and you're dividing by an x, you're going to start with x squared. So this is going to be 3x squared. And then it will be plus 1x, or just x, plus 3. But then I ran out. It went x squared, x to the 1st, x 0. Then what do I do with the 4? Well, that's your remainder. And you put 4 over what you were dividing by, which is x minus 2. And that is much faster than polynomial long division. And so 3 times 2 is 6. And just double checking all my work so I don't hear about, oh, you made a mistake. And so if I do, I'll send an email out to everybody and on that. And so then let's talk about problem 16. We'll do the last one, okay? So here's problem 16. These are the last 4 the hardest. What goes in the little box? Is it 5/3? Is it 3/5? Is it negative 3/5? Is it positive 3/5? And it is positive 3/5. You put the 3 over the 5. And then you write down 5, s to the 4th, negative 3, s cubed, 0, s squared, 10s, not tennis, not playing tennis, 10s, and then a 2. And then we're going to draw our line. Okay? Bring the 5 down. And then what's 5 times 3/5? Well, 5 divided by 5 is 1, times 3 is 3. And then we add these together. And then that would add up to a 0. Now 0 times anything is 0. And so we get that. And then we add those up. We get 0. And then 0 times anything is 0. And so that goes here. And then we add these up and we get 10. But then we ask ourselves, what's 3/5 of 10? Dominic, 3/5 of 10. You paying attention? I'm over here. Hey. 3/5 of 10. That's 6. Good job. And then 2 plus 6 is 8. Now, there's my answer. Well, if you had s to the 4th and you're dividing by s, what do I put? What are my terms on this? And so this would become 5s cubed. You would have 0s squareds. You would have 0 s's. So then it's just plus 10. But then what's that 8? That's my remainder. That's what left over. That's what's for dinner tomorrow, right there. That's our leftovers. And so you put 8 over 5s minus 3. And so that is much easier than polynomial long division. But feel free to do that problem just like yesterday's. Double check your work and see it if you arrive at the same answer both times. And so email me your questions. Let me know. I look forward to seeing your homework even though I can't see you. And so ask me questions. Get your logic problems done. Use that password. Get your warm-ups done. There's prizes on the logic problems. We get prizes for our school. We get prizes for you that we will get to you. And so we miss all of you. And until another episode of Hee Haw, we'll see you later. Okay? Bye-bye.